Hey, this is Brian at G-Force. Looking at your unit here, I want to start off with the coolant issue since I got it running right now. I did check your coolant strength. It is good. It does appear to be topped off. Your fan is indeed running. I know you can't really see it, but that's because the blades are moving. So the main thing here is that your radiator is still at basically room temperature. Your water pump is not very hot, and your cylinders are up to operating temp. So to me, that says that the thermostat is not opening and it's not letting the coolant circulate through the system as it should be. That would be the first thing I'd say we need to look at, is make sure that that's not in bad shape, but that'd be my best guess there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off so you could probably hear me a little better. Looking at your belt, you do have some cracking going on here. That's starting to delaminate, and what's going to happen is this top layer is going to start separating from this bottom layer, and all these little cogs are going to start coming off. That's probably not why your belt light came on. I think they are set to come on every 100 hours just as a maintenance reminder, but it's to make sure and check for stuff like this. Another thing that I noticed, the deflection of the belt, which whenever this is sitting on here, it's how much play the belt has up and down while it's in here, is it was out of spec. It's got too much play. I wouldn't recommend adjusting it yet. I would get a belt first, because that new belt may have a different deflection if the width of the belt on this one has gotten too small. That could cause your excess deflection. So I would definitely get a new belt first, and then check the deflection again, and if we need to adjust it, go from there. I was noticing that you've got this bearing here, and it does have some spots to it where it's very notchy, and the reason for that is just wear of the belt. It creates dust inside the clutch, and you can see all that's just gotten into your bearing here, and kind of worn out the balls in the bearing. It's not a huge issue, other than the fact that this piece pushes against this piece for engine braking, and it'll create noise for sure. It shouldn't really affect performance. It'll just, once it gets really bad, it'll be very loud and chattery. Found that you've got a tear in this boot here. It's in this crease right here, so it's hard to see, but I did mark it where that white paint pen is. In that crease, you've got a hole in your CV boot, and eventually that boot will start making a lot of noise. It'll start coming apart once it gets real bad, and then you won't have drive to your right side wheel. Your front differential fluid may be a little hard to see in the video, but it is looking a little milky. I don't see that there's any, like, the seals aren't really that bad, so I'm not exactly sure, other than maybe some condensation coming in through the vent line, on why it's got moisture in it. Your rear diff oil is topped off, and it's not looking too bad. If you want to change it, we can go ahead and do that. That's not a huge deal. It won't take that long to do. So your engine oil was very dark, and on top of that, you're supposed to have a little over 2 quarts, and I only pulled about 1 quart out of this motor. So you only had about half the oil in it that it should have. I got that changed out. It's looking a little better. It's still black, probably from residual sludge that was in the bottom of the motor. Possible reason for it being low on oil, you can see there's a lot of collection of dirt up here from oil, and you can see how it's a little bit wetter right here where there's a plug for the camshaft, and it looks like that might be leaking. Could also be leaking a little bit from the O-rings that are under these valve inspection caps. Both sides are kind of like that. It's not uncommon for these things to leak at the valve cover caps, but that cam plug is a little bit more of a concern. That is a little bit more involved than just replacing the O-rings for the cam cap, the valve cover caps. Aside from that, I think those are all the things that I've found so far. I didn't see anything wrong with your four-wheel drive, but I also haven't driven a ton. I only pulled it in and pulled it up on my lift, so I didn't see any issues with that. It did switch in and out of four-wheel drive for me just fine. So I'll have to take a look at that again after I get things a little bit more put back together. Let us know what all you want to fix on this, and thank you for coming in.